Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest. Today we are going to ask the fairies, what do they foresee for us for the week of November 16th through November 22nd, 2020. And this will encompass the November 20th date, which is second in line to the 11/11 in importance. So if you have not seen the previous reading for November 9th through the 15th, I will link that in the description box below because those energies are still in play at this time, and there was a great deal of emotion going on at that time just last week. So we'll see what the fairies have to share with us for this week. Okay, card number 1 is the Ace of Clubs. Card number 2, if I can get it to focus for you, is the Jack of Spades. Card number 3 is the Three of Clubs. And card number 4 is the Three of Spades. Okay, so looks like we have an all black layout today. That is neither good nor bad. We don't know anything about this until we actually take a look at the reading. And that means reading all 4 cards together and also the individual cards. What we do see here currently is that we have 2 clubs and 2 spades. Clubs in the elements are air and spades are earth. So we have air and earth. What we are missing is hearts and diamonds, or water and fire. Okay. 1 card is in its natural position, and that would be this spade at the bottom. Each card in a layout has a natural card that goes in that position. The first position would be a diamond. As we can see, we have a club. The second position would be a club, and as you can see, we have a spade. Third position would be a heart, and then last position a spade. When we look at these, we see we have an ace and 2 threes and an 11. So 3 of the cards are kind of low vibration, and the second card is a much higher vibration. The first card is a club. Normally a diamond would be there, and diamonds and clubs are compatible. We have a spade in the second position, and normally we would have a club there. Clubs and spades are not compatible. We have a club in the place of where a heart would naturally rest, and clubs and hearts are not compatible. So we have 2 non-compatible cards, 1 card that's compatible, and 1 that is in its natural position. This will be a very significant card. This Ace of Clubs will be the gist of this reading. Okay, so let's do 1 card at a time, starting with the first card, which is the Ace of Clubs. Okay, and the name on this card is Ethra. And Ethra is an energy. It is an intelligence present within the air that we breathe. And it's everywhere. It connects all of us. It penetrates all of us. But also, that's the air element aspect of this card. But the moth on the card is also all about imagination and the world that we cannot see. Okay? So it sits also where a diamond would normally sit. And there are no diamonds, as we've talked about in this reading. No diamonds shares that there's a fear, some kind of fear going on about our air, and that our imaginations are really running wild, running amok, lowering our energy. This is only a 1, taking away our power. It's kind of all about the power of the mind and the power of believing. And in this case, it's the power of believing in something that is unseen, that is creating a lot of fear that nobody really knows if, it's reality or imagination. And that's what this card depicts, reality or imagination. The moth lives between imagination and reality. Now remember, this first card here is the one that gives pretty much the gist of this entire reading. So it appears that this reading is about some unseen threat, something we're afraid of, no diamonds, that nobody knows is real or not real. So let's move on to the second card and see what additional information can be shed on this. So the second card is the Jack or the 11 of Spades. And in this deck, his name is Pampero. Now, when you look at this card, you see a young man, he has a sword, he's well built, he's physically fit, he's taken care of himself. But because he's a spade, everything is about 3D. Everything is about this earth and what's going on in it. He sits where a club would normally sit, and a club is air in the element. So it is spirituality. So not only do we have fear going on here from something that, we really don't know if it's true or it's not true, if it's really going on or it's not going on. We have someone stuck in that 3D world, not allowing for any spirituality to come in whatsoever. And this card, this 11, is very high energy. The cards go to 13, so 11 is amazing in energy. It's one of the strongest cards in this layout right now. And this, as a characteristic for a person, this young man, can be a really loyal ally, or he can be an amazingly formidable adversary. And though we are lacking the club, which is communication, this card depicts someone moaning and groaning and whining and complaining and carrying on, but it's normally just a lot of hot air. So you've got almost 2 different people here. You've got an ally who is trying to help you through whatever this fearful situation is, and then you've got another person who is the hidden side of this one. As you can see, he's in profile, who is doing their best to just upset the apple cart and to make sure that you stay stuck in this 3D fear. So let's see what the third card has to share with us. This card is very unique looking in the whole scheme of this reading, and it is a card that means a great deal. It actually signals an opportunity to set the course of things that haven't happened yet, okay, which is why it looks like a crystal ball there on the top of this table with the guy underneath, the third eye, the crystal ball, and the light. And, as you can see, again, there's no heart here. And with everything dark, okay, it's like walking into a room with no light and having no light switch at all. Whereas the heart and the diamond would be red. That would be the light. This is the dark. You're walking in the dark. We're all walking in the dark because we don't know what is imagination and what is real. This card is telling us, the fairies are telling us, that we have the opportunity to set the course of things by using our mind, our thoughts. Our thoughts are very powerful, very powerful. So if whatever this situation is, if you're absolutely convinced it's going to happen or it is happening, then in your reality, it is happening. But what about the people who have an opposite point of view and aren't seeing anything happening? Wondering why everybody is so afraid and why everyone is so upset. The fairies are telling us that we have the power to create our own reality, basically. So if you would like to live in fear, that's the reality you can create. If you would like to live in a world with no fear and no anger and no hate, that's the reality that can be created through the thoughts. So let's see what this last card has to share. Okay, so the last card here is the Three of Spades. And in this deck, it is actually called the Grave. Okay. And it is also in its natural position, which makes it quite important in the reading. And if you look at this card carefully, you can see that the guy has the shovel and that there is an empty grave that has been dug in front of him. Okay, now this is not a death card, other than a death card to something, to an idea or a 3D situation that it's time to let go of. Something has been a burden that everyone is carrying that comes from what is going on here. And this card here is telling us that, it's too big of a burden to carry. And it needs to be buried. The whole idea, the fear, the feeling like you can't turn on the light, like you can't see, needs to be buried and put away because there's power here. You have physical strength. You have spirituality and your imagination to be used for the good of yourself, for the good of everyone. The fairies are sharing here between these two cards that are threes, that there's a choice here. Threes are considered ladders. So, imagine yourself being on this middle rung of these two ladders. You have the choice to go to the light. You have the choice to go to the dark. You have the choice to go up or down. If you go down, you make no progress. If you go up, you move forward, out of fear, out of the confusion. You start to have a clear mind, not a muddled one. And that's not to say that the third eye is a muddled thing. The third eye is a spiritual thing. With your third eye, you see what is possible. You see the light. But then we have the dark and the light. Where do you want your mind to be? Do you want to be down here where this card could be taken literally as these are graves? It's a lot of people that have been buried. Or having made a decision for yourself, seeing what is real and imaginary, and burying away any fear. Put that fear in the ground. Let the light come on so that you can see past all of the problems that seem to be being caused by not knowing any kind of facts, not knowing what is real and imaginary, not knowing who's your friend and who's your adversary. It's time to think. Use your mind, not your heart. Because your heart, though very, very true, your heart can sometimes get in the way of what is logical, what is factual. So let your heart rest for a little bit. It had plenty of exercise last week. Let it rest for a little bit and start using your mind. Allow yourself to see what is possible. Look into that crystal ball and discern who is sharing the truth with you, and bury away the things that are not factual in this situation. So that is it for the reading for this week. And I know it seems a bit dark, and the idea of it all seems a bit dark, but truly, these fairies are working with us through what we are dealing with in our world today and giving us the best possible knowledge that they can for us to be able to use. So take what you can from this reading, and what does not work for you, just let it go. Thank you for joining. Take care.